Hello, it's Yogi here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Depends on where you are. It's about, yes, it's 6:44 in London, PM. And I'm going to be working on this piece today. So I made some progress in the last few days, coming back to this piece after months. And I'm really into it. And so this piece is from Heaven and Earth, and it's called The Little Cake Shop. And this version is the regular size, but max color. So lots of colors involved. We're talking, I think 260 colors. So a lot of color changes, and so it's part of the challenge. So let me just show you the full mock-up here. It's an absolutely beautiful, gorgeous piece. There you are. So I'm working from the upper left corner, from the wall, the pink wall and the blue ceiling, and diagonally toward the bottom right. And so I've been working on this piece for the last maybe over 2 years. This is one of the first pieces of full coverage from Heaven and Earth I got. So a lot of fun memories. It was in the middle of lockdown. Oh, Brittany, hello. Hey, Yogi, hello. Brittany says, hello, Brittany. So nice to see you. Thank you for saying hello. I hope you're well today. And so this piece, 25 counts, even weave. And I've been working on it for the past 2 years or so, along with, God knows, 20 other pieces. I haven't counted for a while. And recently coming back to 25 counts, and also picked up this piece, and I just fell in love with it all over again. So just give you a quick summary of my progress right now. Let me just show you this app. So I'm using Cross Stitch Saga. It's a newfound sort of hidden gem. Sort of this one of the apps not many people know about, at least this side of the world, in the West. And so it's feature rich and is full of surprises. So here I am today. I'm going to be working on, let me highlight it for you. And so this is the area. Okay, so I've been working on, let me just deactivate that for now, just to show you my progress. So I've been working on the top part where the greenish blue, where the ceiling is. And just to change, a change of flavor, I'm going to work on this area, which is full of pink colors and some blue as well. It's a really interesting location here. So I'm really looking forward to it. And I try not to be too ambitious about it. I think, I was gradually working on the enlarge, sort of widen the area I'm working at one time. And I got really, really lost last time when I was working on the ceiling up here. And so I'm trying to sort of not to be too ambitious, but this is still quite a few blocks involved. So within this block, just to show you how many stitches are involved, it's 1300. Okay, and I'm not I'm not aiming to finish the entire area, but I'll do my best. and see how far I can go. And if you look at the upper left here where it says progress, it's 13% 07. So when I picked this up maybe less than a week ago, it was under 12%. So I made a pretty good progress. So let's see how far we can go today. And on the calendar, I'm going to create a new sprint. So this app allows you to create a sprint, basically just a timer to capture your progress today. So let's see how far I can go today. Let me come back here. So from time to time, I might stop and just talk through some of the features here. It's pretty neat, but this is not aimed to be sort of a tutorial or anything. But I think this is a great app for you to try out. If you get a chance, it's on Apple devices, on iOS. You do need to convert the PDFs to the compatible format. So might talk a little bit more later on. So let me zoom in here. So hopefully the audio will be okay today. If I'm muted, just give me a shout. I'll try to fix it, but fingers crossed. Yes, Brittany says, I'm doing well, thank you. Just having my coffee and ready to sit and stitch with you for a few hours. Wonderful. What are you stitching today, Brittany? So I've got a copy. Oh, so I've got a cup of coffee as well. I know it's very naughty. It's nearly 7 o'clock in the UK, but I just couldn't help it. I just came back from a really busy day teaching yoga, and I just crave for that fresh cup of black coffee. So I'm drinking. Let me take a sip right now. Freshly brewed. It's lovely. And let me know what's your drink of choice today. And I'd love to know what you're working on if you're stitching with me right now. I'm so curious. So as you can see, I just want to show you my spare needle is running very, very low. I've literally got 3 left. Everything else is being docked on my needle thread parking board. So fingers crossed, if I run out, I just have to be very creative. Now let me bring my little cupcake here. One of my favorite needle miters and very appropriate for this piece. So from here, I'm working from the, I'm allowing the app to sort the number of stitches for each color for me. I'm working from the least amount of color upwards. So it's really rewarding to do. So as you move up the list, then more and more stitches involved. So less color changes. It's always nice to be able to stitch a whole bunch of stitches without changing the thread. So Brittany says, still working on magic study. Oh yes, of course, until I get bored and switch to something else. Absolutely, absolutely. I think the trick is to switch before you get fatigue of a piece, and or change of color palette. Sometimes I just literally move to a different location, like I'm doing right now. I was doing a lot of blue ceilings, and now I'm really looking for some bright colors. So let me see. So the first color I'm going to be stitching is 3804. 3804. So the first thing I do is to turn to my needle parking board to see if I've got one threaded needle here, and I do. Yay, good start. So the first stitches for me is it's always a little bit clumsy, so bear with me. Let me just lock this area so I don't accidentally move it. And I'm highlighting the color here. Let me see where the color is. Okay, I found it. Here they are. And the piece Brittany's working on is absolutely beautiful. It's full of bright colors, totally my cup of tea. So I'm just following the stitch count and slowly move up. So currently with this color, there's 5 stitches. And I find this way of stitching is very, very motivating because you're looking forward to move up to stitches that's got more stitches involved. I mean, it means you will be faster, and it is indeed faster. You know, as it says on the tin, I'm a slow stitcher, but with this color, with this method, I'm actually, I think, maybe double the speed. I don't want to, I don't want to promise anything, but it's it is a lot faster. 1, 2, 3. It's such a warm day again today in London, which is pretty precious because our summer is not always sunny. There's no guarantee. Occasionally we have a few really warm days like today. And you always know it's a warm day. I just need to look at my coconut oil. Because coconut oil, in most places, warmer places, it's always in a sort of liquid form. But in the UK, it's pretty much throughout the years, 95% of the time is solid. That is just the way it is. But if I look at my coconut oil and it's in liquid form, I know it's definitely a warm day. 5 stitches done in no time. This piece is so pretty. 3804. I'm going to park it back. I'm going to mark the stitches to move on to the next one, and this app literally just jumped to the next color for you automatically. 406. 406. Oh no, 915. I got it mixed up. 915. I'll need a new thread here. Zoom out a little bit and put my thread over here. 915. It's a nice burgundy. Here we go. That's a beautiful color. DMC thread. It's just so vibrant in color. And where are they? Let's have a look. I'm down here. You know, last session on this project, I was getting a little bit ambitious. So the block I defined, so it's a user-defined space area. I didn't count how many blocks. I think probably about 20 blocks. And I realized it was just too large area for my eyes to track. I was making so many mistakes. I mean, and I made mistakes from time to time, but not that many. It was definitely too wide of an area for me. So, um, it's better to be a bit more conservative, I think. And let me see. So that one is done. That one is done. Because this way of stitching, you are not stitching in sort of order. You know, if you're doing block by block, then that's okay. But this, you literally, your eyes need to scan around the entire area to spot the pattern that matches what you're looking at on your app, like now. And if it's too wide, basically you're, you know, you could stitch in the incorrect area. And I did. Here now, and I'm going to move up. And also, if the area is too wide, you have to pinch and zoom and move the screen all the time, which is a bit of a hassle as well. So my warm-up stitches, 2 to the right, and then 3 from the right, 1, 2, 3. And I can't wait to get to all the cupcakes on the shelves, on the pattern. Oh, they look so inviting. One stitch here. Beautiful. And I moved my fabric on the wooden frame, because before I was using the plastic, which is kind of quite popular right now, sort of plastic frames, but they actually break very easily, I find. So I'm going back to the good old-fashioned wooden frame, really reliable. 915, 915. And I've got quite a few Q snaps as well, but I kind of stopped using them because it's very hard to keep them very tight. So gradually you just lose that tension. And I like my fabric quite tight. So I think these wooden frames are the best. I do need a screwdriver, screw it tight. But other than that, it's just, you know, it's really reliable. Let me see. 3371? 3371. Let me see if I've got one threaded already. 3371. No. Seven. And the last session on this project, I stitched not only the wrong locations many times, I stitched the wrong colors as well. And I think that's because on this app, If you look at the app on top left there, there's thread color, and that should be, well, that's the actual DMC color. But I always misread it and read the gray number at the back, which is totality of how many stitches left of that color in this project actually. So I don't know why I misread it so many times, which is kind of a little bit unusual. Maybe just my eyes not interpreting it properly. Just move it up a little bit. Is it zoomed in? In here. It's so nice to stitch when the fabric is pulled really tight. There's one more here. So I'm currently still on 5 stitches. Lovely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to tuck this straight over there. There's quite a lot of color variation in this block. That's why I chose it. It's so interesting to stitch. 3, 3, 7, 1. Next one. 3806. 3806. Yes. So each time I change color, I'm just hoping that it's got one. It's already threaded because I literally only have one needle, spare needle left. I just can't buy the needles fast enough. They just get docked on the board. Whoops. Let me see. Let me have a sip of coffee. Oh, the smell is so good. Freshly brewed. Lovely. From here. And 2 stitches here. We're still on 5 stitches. And why don't I mark it just in case? And 3 underneath. You can tell something's taking shape here. down here. And the Sunday class I teach is one of my favorite classes to teach, because the people come to the 10 o'clock Sunday morning class. A lot of them have been practicing for a long time, and they're super strong. So the great thing about that is that I can really push it with the sequences and challenge them with a lot of poses or transitions that you probably don't get to do in regular yoga classes. And they love it. So it's a really fun class to teach as well. Five here, good. 3A06. I'm going to dock it back and mark all my stitches. Ooh, 3766. Beautiful, beautiful greenish blue. 3766. 3766. Yay! Got one dot. Look at this color, it's so pretty. Oh man, I just love the colors of this piece. Where am I? Good. From here, you need to be careful, because once you start making mistakes, everything else starts to go wrong, because you use stitches as references. And if you don't count carefully, you could go a little bit wrong. Five stitches here, or in one place. Two more down here. So sewing, stitching sort of colorful gems on the fabric. So pretty. So I've been streaming 4 days in a row. I didn't think it was doable. And I'm really looking forward to stitching with you. Just so nice to have company, stitching together, and just chat. Beautiful, look at this. 3766. 3766. 524. 524. I mean, when you have a board or somewhere that you park your unfinished leftover thread, it's so fast that you can just pick out the color and start stitching. And very occasionally you have to bring a new thread, but other than that, you know, it's just so efficient. I like efficient. One on the right there. Brittany says, I just bought a Max color charts myself. I got Amy's, oh, Amy Stewart's Reader's Paradise. I wonder which piece is that? Reader's Paradise, I must look it up. Yes, Amy Stewart is one of my favorite artists. It's just like every piece of her artwork it's like a dream. It's just a playful dream. So this piece, in case you don't know, is from Amy Stewart as well. And I've got maybe 3 other, at least, pieces from her. Through Heaven and Earth. Just so colorful. I think she's a genius. And she must have sort of heart like a child, because where do you come up with all these beautiful colors and objects unless you have you know, you're a child at heart, actually. You know, this cake shop would be a cake shop of my dream when I was a kid, and still is. Hasn't changed, still a child. Yes, Brittany, I'll look up your piece at some point. I'd love to know. I'm not familiar with that name. Let me just have a quick look when I finish these stitches. 524. 524. Next, I'm going to just quickly look up the piece Amy's, not Amy, Brittany's stitching has bought from Amy Stewart. What's it called? Reader's Paradise. Doesn't ring a bell. Paradise. Amy Stewart. It's Let's make sure I spell the name correctly. If I find it, I'll show it to you. Oh, I know this piece. I just wasn't familiar with the name. I never looked up the name. Let me show you. Yes, I've seen this piece. There you go. It looks like a library or somebody's study, or someone who likes books a lot. Is this the one? It's gorgeous. It's so much going on. I've seen this one before. I didn't realize it was Amy Stewart. That's lovely. Great choice. Yes, Heaven and Earth, they do sort of flash sales randomly, random days, which is quite nice. It encourages you to, you know, to visit from time to time to catch it. Yeah, that's a great choice, Brittany. That's so lovely. Oh, I'm more tempted now. Oh, you love books. Yes, wonderful. That's wonderful. I love the smell of books, actually. It's just so comforting. Just like coffee. Coffee and books. Oh my God. Oh. And 377A. But I have to confess, I haven't bought that many physical books since iPad came out, actually. But I love walking into bookshops. Yes, there's still bookshops around. It's true. And I like to just walk in and just smell the books, new books. Yes. Oh, it looks like your own house. My God, you must live in some sort of a stately home. And yes, I don't think I even have that many physical books in the house now, which is great in some way because it frees up a lot of space because books take up a lot of space. And those are really heavy if you need to move house. And my excuse would be digital books, and you never lose them. So, and you can't spell coffee on them. That's a beautiful piece. Yeah, I don't have it anymore, but I used to have sort of coffee table books, you know, like those hardback books with loads of pictures to impress your guests when people come in. Just go, I'm really cultured. I've got, you know, big books with tons of pictures of, I don't know, I'm trying to recall, French countrysides, fine furniture, that kind of stuff. Brady says, I wish I had a stately home, live in a small house, and my husband reads too. So we have thousands of books. My goodness, thousands of thousands of books. It will probably just buried my flat. Wonderful. The books are great. Oh, we've got coffee table books. So you know what I mean. You know, you stack them on top of the coffee table, obviously. And when the guests come in, you make them a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and they just flick through, you know, those books and just pondering upon, you know, being really impressed about how cultured you are. Oh my. Next one, 640, 640. I know. And there's a bookshop down my road. It's been around for a long time. I've been living this area for a long time, and it's been around for as long as I know. And what happened was a few years ago, there was a fire because it was next to a greasy spoon. And if you don't know what it is, it's basically a kind of old-fashioned diner that specialized in English breakfast. So we're talking sort of sausages, eggs, fried bread, that kind of stuff. And one morning, there was a fire. I think something happened to the greasy spoon overnight. I don't know what happened there. And then the bookshop got partially burned down. And let me just see, make sure I've got the right stitch here. So the bookshop had to move because books are most flammable. And so half of the bookshop was gone. Um, so what they did was they moved down the road just a little bit and had a slightly smaller shop but looking more modern because the original bookshop was very old-fashioned looking. And you walk in, you feel like you've been transported back at least 2 decades, which is kind of nice. And because the shop got burned down, I hope they had very good compensation from the Greasy Spoon. And they moved down the road, and they've been there since. And every time I walk past, I have to walk past them every time I go to my yoga studio. And I always wonder how they managed to survive for so long, because bookshop cannot be easy nowadays. You know, people read less books, and also people tend to buy digital books nowadays or audio books. There's so many options. I know a lot of people still love the physical books, but people buy online as well, you know, Amazon, wherever. And so how many people actually just cast your mind back. When was the last time you walked into a physical bookshop? You know, it's probably a while back. Unless you're Brittany. Brittany probably goes to a lot of bookshops. But majority of the people either, buy digital books, audiobooks, or they buy books online. So I always, when I walk past them, I always look at them in wonder. And there are always people in the shop as well, which makes me very happy. I don't go in that frequently, but I go in for a wonder from time to time. They sell books, but also cards as well. Some sort of not stationery, but sort of greeting cards. I think people still buy them, I hope. But they're still there, so there's hope. Well, I don't know. I think, it's probably a bit like vinyl. At some point, it becomes like a collector's item, physical books. And good. I think I've done these 5, 4, 640, 640. Next one. Oh, I'm moving up to 6 stitches now. Very exciting. 3805. 3805. Yes, I've got one part. Oh, so Brittany, I knew it. You go to bookshops as well? A lot. Okay, that's great. So you do digital and audio. I know. They're different, depends on the book, the content, I guess. With novels, I think it's nice to have a book in the hands. And definitely, if you're having a coffee table books, definitely it has to be physical books. So you don't want to hand an iPad to your guests. I don't think there is. It just doesn't feel right, does it? So I think books still have their places. It's just, but I think anything to do with, I don't know, information, more information-driven books. I don't mind having digital books. But I think something about a novel, a nice novel. You want to hold it in your hands and drink a cup of coffee and maybe spill the drinks. You need to have coffee stains, for books. It is just proper that way. It has to happen. Coffee stains belong to books. down here. Or if you're a little bit more adventurous or more grown up, maybe wine stain. Wine stains happen a lot as well. I mean, white wine, you wouldn't see anything, but red wine, oh, you can always look back and think about a nice drunken night with a glass of red wine in the hands, reading the book. But if you think about it, you know, we moved from, if you think about music, we moved from vinyl to, I think it was CD, and then MP3, MP4, and God knows MP whatever now. Within a pretty short space of time, maybe within, was it even 20 years? But the books have been around for a long, long time. We're talking hundreds of years. The evolution of books, physical books, to digital books, only really happened in the past 20 years or so, something like that. You know, but if you think about the books as a form, physical form, have been the same and have been around for, God knows, centuries. Beautiful. Let me make sure I've got all the stitches here. Up there and there. Good. Because when they're scattered around, it's very easy to miss them if you just do a rough counting. 3, 2, 7. Let me just go back to the last color. I want to know 3, 2, 7. 3805. And if you think about the book as they are, you know, just pages bind together, it's so practical, it makes sense. And I think the simpler the how do you describe that? Any objects that we have in our physical space, the simple they are, it seems that the less it takes longer for them to change. If you think about, okay, if you're eating lunch, you know, for instance, toilet rolls. If you think about toilet rolls as they are, they haven't changed for a long time. And, you know, I can't see them doing anything different in, you know, anytime soon. And that's really interesting because so many things change so fast. The more complex something is, it just seems that they get replaced quicker. And whereas something like simple like books and toilet rolls or paper-based objects, they don't seem to change that much. 327, 327. Or maybe we're gonna get like space age toilet roll at some point. And then one down here. Let me just see where they are. One here, one over here. 2. I've got 4 more. I see. So this one I'm going to take all the way to the right there. And there's one loose stitch on the left. Should have enough thread to do that one stitch. I hope. I've got a tiny bit of thread left. Should be able to do that one stitch. It's part of the fun to see whether you can get away with it. Yes, just one stitch on the left here. I don't want to waste any thread, anything. Oops. I might leave the tail here because it's getting a little bit short, a bit tricky to stitch. Oh, never mind. Should be okay. Nice and snugly. One stitch there. Three, 7, 7, 6. 3, 7, 7, 6. It's really nice that each time you change color, it's a totally different color. It makes it so much fun. And it's quite nice. I'm kind of freeing up a few needles here. It makes me feel a little bit better. Because when it was down to 1, that feels a little bit. It gives me a little bit of anxiety. 6 here, so they're all here. 1, 2, 3. Yes. Down a little bit. Right, I'm going to take the thread to the around here, which is going to go over stitch area. So what I'm going to do is to do a kind of a quick pin stitch here, just to anchor the thread away from the stitch area. So this is my little thing here. I don't like to have my thread going over stitch areas too much. 3 down here. One, 2, 3. One more here. And 2 down. So it's getting kind of faster. It's really quite remarkable with this way of stitching. And Brittany, I would love to know what stitching method you're using. Are you parking or you're doing cross country of some kind? Because your piece is really big as well. And you're doing, if I remember correctly, tiny, tiny stitches. My 32? Was it 32? Man, that's hardcore. Um, 3776. Lovely. Moving over here, 779. 779. 32 counts, yes. Oh, cross country by page and parking. Interesting. Yes, I do that combination sometimes as well. I just kind of stitch away from the edges and then just park. If the next stitch is too far away, I just park. Is that what you're doing as well on your 32 counts? Man, my next challenge will probably be 28 counts. And I'll leave the 32 counts a little bit later. I'm in no hurry. One step at a time. Yeah, that makes sense because it's kind of a quite relaxed way of parking as well. Rather than going block by block, you just park wherever. Makes sense. Yeah, I do that a lot. Oh, hi. Is it Esmeralda? Esmeralda. I probably butchered that. I'm so sorry. And so I love stitching diagonal and parking in the next diagonal. Okay, so I'm trying to work it out in my head. Diagonal and park in the next diagonal. Do you mean the next block? Enlighten me. So let me see if I got that stitch. Got these two. Another one underneath. Okay, got it here. There's so many different parking methods, and a lot of people kind of modify the rules to suit their stitching styles, because if it doesn't flow, it can be the most popular method. It just doesn't flow. It's like which method was that? Royal roll. It was really everywhere. Everybody was doing it. I tried it, and it just doesn't work for me. It just feels, for me anyway, it feels it doesn't feel intuitive for me. So I tried it, and yeah, not really for me. Okay, in Pattern Keeper, you can also set diagonal for 10 or 20 stitches wide. Oh, I see. They go from bottom left to top right. Yes. And I stitch a 20 wide diagonal, so that's 2 blocks. If I finish the color in the diagonal, I park it in the next. Oh, I get it now. So you're stitching kind of diagonal, kind of a strip at a time. Is that correct? And talking about diagonal method, I think Karen from Needlebark might be the OG of that method. I don't know. I think because I did some deep diving of parking method when I first started learning how to park, and I came across Needlebark, and she had tutorials dating back, God knows, 7, 8 years, kind of tutorial on how she part diagonal strips. It's so neat though. It's like perfect diagonal line. And I just, I found it really hard when I have to kind of be, really, really neat and tidy. I'm just not a very neat and tidy person. So I keep fighting back, the the urge to just wander off the edges. Yes, that's a beautiful way of stitching. If you can keep it really neat, and I've seen people doing it like that, and I just go, whoa, wouldn't you want to like stitch a few stitches out just to break the line a little bit? So if you show me rules, my first thing is trying to break it, pretty much. 600. And which piece are you working on then? If you don't mind sharing. Is it quite a large piece, like epic size? I think everybody's working on really, really large projects, even mini. Heaven and Earth mini there's nothing mini about it. It's only mini comparing to regular sizes or super sizes. Occasionally I watch people on YouTube working on kind of sampler type of things. I thought, oh, so cute. Just something that you can actually finish. How refreshing. That concept has left me a long time ago. I just stitch one stitch at a time, one area at a time, and not thinking about completion. I see. Okay, I'm stitching several full coverages, nothing massive or big. Yeah, but full coverages by default is a lot more involved. Just the fact that, you're covering the fabric with stitches. Brittany says, I saw the finished mini version of the Reader Paradise yesterday in Hey Group on Facebook. It's still massive. Exactly. There's nothing mini about it. It's very deceiving. They're going, oh yeah, here's a mini version. Go for it. Yeah, 10 years later, it's finally finished. If at all. I know. Right, Gecko Rouge. Zombie Cat from Heaven and Earth. And a piece called Bloomer from, oh, okay. So you've got a piece from Gecko Rouge as well. Lovely. Yeah, because they're not worldwide famous just yet. It's a British cross-stitching. It's kind of a chart designer, actually, chart maker. So they have contract, maybe just like heaven and earth contracts with artists, and they would charge their work. And if you go have a look at Gecko Rouge, it's they have really interesting selection of patterns. They're a little bit different from the regular heaven and earth. They're kind of going for more, well, dare I say, kind of sophisticated paintings, that kind of stuff. And a lot of really quirky pieces as well, sort of more modern, whatever that means. So let me just dock it back 600. Yes, I totally agree. Like it's slightly unconventional. So they're not sort of regular, you know, cross stitch patterns. A lot of kind of fine art type of images and some almost cartoon, but maybe cartoon is not the right word. Comics. Yeah, they're quite interesting, and I'm glad they're doing well. They seem to be doing well. It's nice to have some alternative, slightly quirky design to choose from. I've got a really, really large piece from them. I can't wait to stitch that piece as well. But I'm trying to sort out the pattern because I imported that piece over to Cross Stitch Saga, and it messed up everything basically. So I need to manually go in and fix it. So until I'm done with that, I can't really restart just yet. 927, but I've got so many pieces to keep me busy anyway. Nine two seven. Oh, unconvention cross stitch. Okay, so this is a brand, is it? Sorry, I'm not familiar with it. It's also designed. Okay, oh, look it up. Unconvention cross stitch. Unconventional cross stitch. Okay, I'll definitely look it up. Where is it based, country-wise? Not that it matters. It's always interesting because every country, they have different sensibility to artwork, to cross stitches, pattern, different taste. So but I think heaven and earth is definitely a must. Australia. Okay. Wow. Definitely going to look it up. Not aware of sort of Australian cross stitch companies. I know there are a couple of them from Russia. They do very interesting work, like with beads and everything. Or Eastern Europe, I'm not sure, maybe Polish. But yeah, they have a different sort of feel to their charts and how they approach cross stitching. And I remember like someone commented on maybe comments or live comments, I can't remember. They're talking about the Russian patterns involve more sort of variation of stitches. Heaven and earth is pretty much full cross or half cross, you decide. But the Russian design sort of charts, they have variation of different stitches to create texture. I love that too. I'd love to try the beaded ones at some point, if I can get hold of a nice chart, because the chart design that I've come across with beads normally involves some sort of female figure with a dress, and I don't like to stitch people. It's just a thing. With the design of my choice, you can probably see that there's no faces or eyes. I've got a little bit of phobia with sort of dolls, not severely, but ideally I don't really like to stitch anything with a face. I don't mind animals. I've got pieces with cats, but not human faces. It makes me nervous. It's a little bit of you know, I wouldn't call it phobia. Not that bad, but it's just if I'm going to stare at it for a long time, ideally something without eyes staring back at me. You know, some people stitch like figures and faces. It's very courageous. I can't do that. 3861, 3861. Yes, I've got one threaded here. Sip of my coffee. I'm still on 6 stitches. But there's some exceptions, like the piece I got from Gecko Rouge. There are a couple of sort of dolls there. And I kind of thought about it when I trying to decide whether I was going to get the kit. I was thinking, what if I didn't like it, you know, because there are a few dolls and couple of faces like puppets type of thing. But then I kind of decided to get it because they're quite small in sort of totality of the entire pattern, and I was totally in love with the pattern, so I decided to get it anyway, and I managed to stitch a doll and a kind of slightly Punch and Judy style puppet face there, and I was okay. I tried not to stare at it for too long, but I'm glad I did it and I managed to move forward. But generally I don't like faces, you know. One, two, three, four, five. There's one more up here on the left. Let me check if I've stitched that one. I have. Good. Right. Which one's this? 3861? 3861. Next. 1, 2, 3 here. and 3 loose stitches. Fine. 3A, 3, 1. Esmeralda. Have I pronounced it correctly? I'm so sorry if it's not correct. So she says, most of my pieces have something of an animal in it. Nothing with human faces. Oh yeah, I'm okay with animals, like the other piece, the Winter a Reading Nook. It's from Heaven and Earth as well. I think it's Amy Stewart as well. It's called a deer, like a reindeer type of animal outside. It's a hard name. I know. Thank you for your understanding. I'm terrible with names. You know, with every class I teach, the first thing is to take register. So the studio obviously don't want people to just book the classes and not turn up. So they make a point of making teachers to take register. And also it's a nice thing because you get to know the students' names if they come in on a regular basis. So it's quite nice. And I do that in the beginning of every class. And to be honest, unless they're the names I've done it many times before, it's almost like a test. And, you know, there are all sorts of names out there. A lot of them I literally just butcher as I go, and I have to apologize all the time. And thankfully, the students are normally very forgiving. But once I get to know them, I make sure I pronounce it correctly. I do my best anyway. But yeah, names are tricky. Names are tricky. And also with YouTube names, you never know it's the actual name, or sometimes people kind of just combine words or letters together to make it unique. So, you know, sometimes it's just really hard to pronounce. So thank you for being so forgiving. Numbers and names are not my forte. And I think there's 3 more over here scattered around. New one over here. And there's one more buried at the bottom there. So I'm going to end the thread here. I know it's slightly OCD, but I just don't want to take the thread over the stitch area at the bottom. I'm going to end it. It made me feel better. Let's see. From here, I think it's that one. Just one stitch here. Beautiful. It's so snuggly, there's no need to end the thread in any particular method. Maybe just stay put. 3A, 3, 1, 3, 1, next. 152. Very popular color. So 2 stitches here, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. 152. 152 is a popular color for heaven and earth. I had to top it up many times. 152. This beige. It's quite frequently used. You see, 2 over here. This looks like a flower of some sort. There's one on the right there. Trying to be quite careful. Don't want to stitch the wrong places like I did in the last session. Good. I'm going to end the thread here, or should I take over? I think it's okay to take over because it's all unstitched area. I'm okay with that. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And one more. Last one. Right in there's a little area here. And yesterday, the piece I did, 14 counts, and I used Gemma Stitches method. And originally when I started stitching on 25 counts, I wanted to stitch in that method as well because I really enjoy that way of stitching. But for some reason, that method just doesn't really work for me on 25 for some reason. It just feels like it's a bit too involved. I don't know. I think Gemma's style, that method really works well for lower count fabric. When it comes to sort of tiny stitches like this, it just becomes very, I don't know, it's a bit too much, I think. Maybe just for me. But I'd love to know if she ever stitch using that method for, something like 25 counts. Um, I remember correctly, I think she say, I think on one of the videos she mentioned that she would be interested in stitching sort of higher count fabric, but I think it's going to put a lot of a strain on her eyes. So, which is fair enough. You don't want to go blind doing this. 436. 14 counts can come out really beautiful as well. Like the piece yesterday. 436. 436. Four, three, six. It's John James Gold Needle. And by the way, the size of needles I'm using is 28. And everything else I use 26. Lovely. I think all the stitches are here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yes. All in one location. So I'm learning from my experience. I think this size area is kind of perfect for me. It's not too small. And also it kind of makes sense to the area you're stitching as well, because you want the area to kind of include some sort of details that makes sense. So for instance, I don't want to spoil it, but there's something within this area clearly that the area kind of captures the image there. So it's quite rewarding to stitch like this, because by the time you finish this area, that image will emerge underneath. Two, and there's one more. Yeah. So Esmeralda, I'll stop. Calling you by name. I use 25 count and 28. Okay, and for samplers 40 count 1/2. Fair enough. Yes, samplers 1/2 should give you enough details, but not too tiny. Yes, that sounds lovely. Yeah, I do have this pattern. I haven't found a fabric I like. What is this pattern called? I think many of you probably would be familiar with it. It's quite well known. Let me see if I can pull it off my shelf here. So I've got two that I'm looking to do. So they're both from Rosewood Manor. Oh, I want to show this to you because this is something that I would like to do at some point. Let me zoom it out a little bit. Here we go. So the first one is this one. and the forest grew. I actually started a little bit because this piece is a little bit smaller, and so I managed to find a fabric. I wanted to find the linen, but I just couldn't find the right fabric. I sort of looking around Etsy. If you know anywhere that I can get linen, please let me know. But I kind of looked, either they're just crazy expensive, you know, hand dyed or treated fabric for this size. And I think the recommended fabric count is a little bit higher. I won't show you any pattern itself, but I think the recommended sort of count is 32 to 1/2, if I'm correct with that. And that for me is maybe is a little bit bigger. I would like sort of slightly smaller stitches, but I just couldn't. Maybe 40 count linen. Rosewood Manor is beautiful and complex. I know. I'm stitching inspiration from her. Oh, okay. They've got so many patterns. Like, I can't even look at them because I just want them more. And the another one is a little bit bigger. Let me show you. Ta-da! 101 alphabets. Yeah, so I got these one. Maybe over a year ago, and I just could not. You can see how big this pattern is, and I think this might be 32 count as well. Let me have a look. Recommended 36 count here, and I'll like to stitch this pattern at some point, maybe 40 upwards. 46, what would you recommend? Because I can see that this pattern will come out so beautiful, like really antique. Let me zoom in a little bit so you appreciate it. It's such a beautiful piece, and but you do need a pretty large fabric, and I don't want to stitch this on an even weave. I think this pattern deserves linen, so yeah, I'm still looking out for a nice piece of fabric for this. So these two are on my mind from time to time, and I would love to be able to do them kind of like on the side, because I would imagine it will probably take a little bit less time to do. Not thinking about completion, but you know, just the fact that to have some samplers on the side as well would be quite nice. But yeah, I'll be looking out for a nice piece of linen for that. But every time I look at the pattern, I just go, oh, my heart just melts. It's just one of those things. Let me see, where am I? These two underneath. Ah, the linen, okay. In the UK, you have Lakeside Needlecraft. I've heard of that name before. Maybe I visited the website before. I can't. Yeah, that rings a bell. It's pretty good from what I heard. I'll look it up actually, because I tend to look up either Etsy or Amazon. Amazon is not a great place for something so niche, but you know, they do. It's okay to buy like even weave, you know, DMC even weaves. They do stock them, but not sort of really specialized thing. But Etsy, I've looked. Yeah, I'll look up the website. If it's UK based, then it's might be easier. But it's just the price of the fabric sometimes is a little bit crazy, particularly those been kind of treated, you know, hand dye or whatever to make it a little bit antique-y. The prices just go sky high. But that piece will be so beautiful when stitched, for sure. Let me see, make sure I'm stitching the right place. Why am I missing one stitch here? In fact, I'm going to just stitch over it. Very similar in color. Yeah, thank you for the suggestion. I'll look up Lakeside. It rings a bell, actually. I love Rosewood Manor. They've got so many patterns. My heart just start racing when I look at them. One, two, three, four, seven. Oh, I'm moving up to 7 stitches. Lovely. 4, 3, 6. 4, 3, 6. Done. How interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. All 7 stitches are here. 7, 5, 4. 7, 5, 4. Here. And 3 in a row. It's getting a little bit darker outside. It's been so warm that we don't need heating even in the evenings. So British summer can be quite warm occasionally during the day, but it's not unusual. The temperature drops really drastically in the evening to the point that sometimes you still need some heating. I do anyway. So, and my cat Dolly does as well. She loves place nice and warm. But today and the last night as well, we didn't need anything. Last one in this color. Gonna tuck it in here. Very nice. It's getting faster. It's so exciting. 754. 754. Let me have a sip of my coffee. Love cold coffee as well. Right. 3A20. 3A20. Okay. New one. A20. Lovely mustard color. It's good to check, cross-reference the color on the app as well, because sometimes I misread the numbers. They look very similar. I'm just filling in these stitches in this area. Four stitches down here. It's really nice when all the stitches are concentrated in one area, so you don't have to look for them. Hello, Dolly. Dolly's my cat. She's coming to me for a little bit of attention. She's been sunbathing a lot today. It's a hard life of a cat. You know, sunbathing, sleeping, cuddling, all the hard work. Right, Dolly? Hey, babe. And 3/820. Gonna part the needle. Lovely. I'm moving up to 9 stitches. How exciting. Right. 3042. Perfect. 3042, that doesn't look right. 3047. I knew it. 3042. That's better. It's good that I checked. Right. We're here. A bit over here. Oh, this is turned into something, isn't it? I wonder what that is. Up here. Right. A tiny bit of thread left. Fingers crossed. One over here. One over here. Right. Let me mark them. The stuff from the bottom here. I'll probably run out and have to start a new thread. Or do I? Okay, I think I probably do. There's 3 more stitches. Maybe I can get away with it. Let's see. 2 more stitches. Oh, it's getting very short. Very, very short. One more stitch. Might be able to make it. Yes. Tiny bit left. Let me see if we can tuck it in here. Whoops. Yes. Got it. Beautiful. 1, 2, 3. These ones. Oh, 3. Okay. It's a grey color. Brittany says thread chicken is my least favorite stitching game. Oh, the things we do to ourselves. So there's one loose stitch on the upper lap there. I'm gonna leave it till the end. And I'm going I love it when I can get away with a tiny bit of thread and not wasting anything. Oh, I've got a feeling. Have I got this one correct? Yes. One, two, three. One, two. This one on top. And this reminds me, because I talk about this stitcher quite a lot, a Japanese lady called Komari. A lot of you might be familiar with her. And I don't know whether you've noticed the way she starts and ends her threads. Man, it's not for faint-hearted. There is actually one video on her channel. If you look up Komari, she demonstrates the starting and ending method of her. And it's literally, she would start a thread and just by simply leaving a tail underneath, and longish, and without using any starting method, she would just leave the tail there and just stitch over it. Because what I normally do is I actually pull the thread up to the point that is just slightly below the fabric, but there's a little bit of length there. But what she did, she just leave a pretty long tail, stitch over it and keep stitching. And when she finishes with that color, she would do the same and just leave another really long tail below without ending any thread ending method, just leaving the thread dangling, and then just hopefully as she moved forward with the pattern and all the loose thread will get tucked in somehow. But if you go, the video is up there in her channel, go to the video channel part of it. It was quite a few years back. She had a camera positioned under her desk. I remember so well because I've never seen anybody stitch that way. And you can literally see, it's almost like fur coming out of the back of the work. There's so much material at the back because she would just leave long tail. And so she doesn't bother doing any starting ending method. So she's super quick because a lot of times what we do is that we try to end thread neatly, starting thread, whatever method you can, think of. She just, not doing that. She just leave a long tail and just stitch over it. So in the end, when you flip over her work, you see her back of her work is almost like a rug. I think there's probably more material at the back than the front. Oh, so Brittany knows, yes, Komori is amazing, but the back of her work gives me anxiety. Exactly, that's the word. Those are the words I'm looking for. It gives me cold sweat. I'm just thinking, oh my God, all that DMC thread, all the DMC floss at the back. And it doesn't matter. Well, it doesn't bother me if it's bulky because you're making fabric. Maybe you just make the piece a little bit stronger. But I need to have everything tucked in. I don't like floating thread, dangling thread, whatever. But this lady doesn't care. It's just like you flip her work over. You're looking like a rock. It's beautiful. Oh, one day we need to watch that video together. We have to watch together party and just get cold sweat together. And we probably need to have a drink, just calm the nerves because it's not for faint-hearted. Man. Oh, I'm so glad you've seen that as well. Yes, that's precisely. It gives me anxiety. You just go, oh, DMC floss, DMC thread, or any thread, really. And it's partially, well, she stitches like superhuman fast, but also because she doesn't have to stop to end thread, tuck the thread in, all that business. So she's so fast. She's so fast. She stitches like supersized this and that and the other. Max color. Oh, we're made differently. I'm just not made for that. I don't have the heart for that. 407. Yeah, I think the lady is known as the athlete, Olympic athlete of the stitching world, I think. Yes, I don't know how she doesn't get nuts because as she's stitching, she has to prick the needles through all that fur. Is that stitching a rug? Man. It's so crazy. I love watching her because it's like watching an alien stitching. She just plows through stitches like no one's business. But she gets her work finished, so she wins. And here we are, kind of pondering upon one message, starting or ending message. She doesn't mind at all. Three here. As the number of stitches increasing, I try to mark as I go along so I don't get lost. And I've never seen Komari parking at all. I think she doesn't park at all. She just does sort of mini cross country and just finish the thread. I don't know what she does with leftover thread. I dread to think she just throw it away. I don't know the prices of DMC in Japan. Over here is quite pricey. And it's not even about being pricey. So it doesn't matter, even CXC thread. I don't want to waste anything. And I want my bag to be reasonably tucked in, neat and tidy. No loose ends. Well, that's just me. 2. I think it's all the stitches here done. See, we're spending time trying to tuck the thread in and all that. People out there don't care at all. Or shall I say a person? I don't know anyone else is doing the same as her. It takes a very special person to do that. Right, 800. 800. 800. Okay, I need a new thread. A tiny bit left. Oh, moving up to 10 stitches each color. Yay. Okay, I'm just going to start from the top. One, two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4. One over here. Down to the right side. One more stitch down here. I think the last one. Let's have a look. Oh, there's more. Okay. Those two as well. done that. Excellent. Right, 800. Back on the board. Next one. 3832. It's really pretty. Salmony pink. Let's see. Stuff from there. Double check. One, two. Let me see. This part is getting a little bit more crowded now, so I make sure I don't stitch in the wrong place. Two. See. Six. Okay, they were here. Good. This app is so good. Really smart as well. Two more at the bottom. The tension of the fabric is perfect today. I think that's it. Yes. 3A32. Next. 10 stitches over, lovely, in one place. 9 to 8. Oh, nice meeting you. Yeah, it's lovely to see you too. Yes. I'll catch you later. Have a great day. Bye. Here we are above. It's quite a very, very light color, almost white. I have to be ultra careful because I normally mess up really light colors. Oh dear. I knew it. I knew it. I think. Let me see. 1, 2, 3. Let me stitch over that one. Because sometimes with pale colors, even if you stitch, you make a stitch, but it doesn't look like you have. Maybe I'm going blind. And particularly with sort of gridded fabric, sometimes I mistaken the grayed out border stitches as the stitched area. It's sometimes you kind of miss out stitches because of that. Two. 3 colors. And 4 more. Hmm. 1, 2 over here. And 2 more. Last one, yay! The next one will be a little bit brighter. Lovely. So I've been watching a lot of Louise Theroux documentaries recently. Kind of, some of them are quite old, like years old. Like some of them probably early 2000s or something. But you can find them on BBC iPlayer. There's some on YouTube as well. I like him. He's quite wacky. He's done some really interesting documentaries there. So I've been watching one about, let me just get this thread, 334. 334, we need a new thread. 334. Nice blue here. I just saw one about he went to Broadway and basically follow a few actors or kind of struggling actors. I think all actors are struggling. That's the norm. And he follows some of them, the people who try to make it into acting, Broadway, that kind of thing. And it's fascinating, the kind of mindset of people who try to make it. You know, they take acting classes and spend a lot of money taking actor shots, you know, the black and white. There's actor shots, try to play different characters, etc. It's just fascinating. It's like you can't really do it unless you just have this, I don't want to say blind belief, but this unshaken belief of, you know, if you keep trying, you're going to make it. And some do, but very few. I think all the actors that we know, that's even known, they're a tiny, tiny percentage of people. Majority of actors, you probably never ever see them and it's a bit like, probably if you try to be a model, it's a little bit similar because you have to, you know, be prepared for a lot of rejections, like constantly. And they criticize your face, your body, your acting, everything. It's not quite the same as going to work in the office. So I think in order to even stay at the path of pursuing something like that, you have to be made slightly differently. Or you wouldn't be able to withstand, you know, kind of rejection and stuff like that. I remember when I was doing kind of 9 to 5, not quite 9 to 5, 9 to 7 jobs many years before I became, you know, became a sort of yoga teacher. I remember, because I was so used to that life of, you know, wake up early in the morning, going to this routine, catching London Tube, which is subway, London subway, to go to an office with full of computers. Most of them were open space, open plan offices with 0 characters. They all look the same, just rows and rows of desks. with computers on it. And that was my life for a long time. And I remember going to a kind of a concert, kind of gigs. Oh, I think I stitched these ones in the wrong location. Let me undo them while I can. I remember going to a show in an area of London where a lot of jazz pubs, you know, with jazz music. And I went with a colleague of mine because his friend was one of the musicians. Is a friend of his was one of the musicians there. And I was so entrenched in kind of corporate office type of job and environment, never really thought about it or question it. I remember watching these musicians, and it was kind of evening time. The time I would normally go home and try to get some dinner, and then ready for the next day to do the same thing over and over again. I remember I just had this kind of revelation in my head, watching these musicians doing live shows at the time, the hours where I would just, you know, try to mentally prepare somehow to go back to the office the next day. And I don't know, I was just overwhelmed by the fact that there are people who could live like them, who had no sort of strict timetable of what they do. They just rehearse maybe during the day and then they do shows in the evenings. I remember thinking, oh my God, there are people who live like this, and you can live like this. I mean, it might be really obvious to a lot of people, but when you're so sucked into a one way of living, you think that's the norm. But then you look at someone who has completely different lifestyle, and you know, it makes you realize that you can, you know, you have choices. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with, you know, working in the office, not at all. If that makes you happy, you know, security, I think that's what a lot of people are looking for. 334, but sometimes we're going to kind of autopilot mode without questioning. So I just remember vividly of that night thinking, oh, you could live like this, you know, without having to get up at the same time, going through the same routine and then commute to work. You have options. That kind of planted seeds in my head, I think, somehow. Next one, 794. 794. 94, 11 stitches. Whoops. Stitches here. Two here. All the 6 stitches down here. It gets easier when you have more stitches around that you can reference the locations. Bring down. Oops. Last 2. Tiny bit left. I'm going to keep it 794. Because sometimes with Max Colors, it's got a lot of single stitches. So even when you have very short, leftover piece, it can be really useful if you just use them for one stitch. 335. Three, three, five. Can you start here? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I think this one is probably 1 stitch off. 1, 2, 3. That's fine. 3, 4. Even with pre-gridded fabric, I can still count it wrong sometimes. Right. 4, 2 down. Two, one over here. Cool. Let me see. That's 3 more. They kind of scattered around. Hang on. It's 2 under here. Right, I think it might be okay to take the 3 over because it's relatively unstitched over there. Why not? Just want to make sure that everything at the back is getting tucked in. That's it. And three, 12 stitches. 3, 7, 2, 2. In most colors, I have a thread waiting for me. 3, 7, 2, 2. Not this one. 3, 7. 2, 2. Here we go. Tiny bit left. I need to top it up. Hey Dolly, what are you doing? Dolly's here to say hello. right here. Not really sure. One, two. Another one down here. And there's another one over here. Gonna be a little bit adventurous and take it all the way down here. Normally depends on the situation. I might end the thread and move it down, but feels okay today. Alright, so what I'm going to do is to anchor my thread to the right there to take the thread away from the stitch area. Pin stitch here. I think Dolly is hungry. Let me have a look at my progress so far. I have no idea how long I've been stitching. Let's have a look. So over 2 hours. I think I might go for one more color and then wrap up for today. 3722 722. Oh, there's one more. Hang on. 3722. I missed one stitch. Loose one on the right here. Two. Somewhere here. 1, 2, 3. One down. One, two, three, four. Just one stitch here. Oops. Three, 7. Oh, hang on. Why does it say, okay, there's 2 more here, nearly missed it. 1, 2. I'm actually a little bit hungry as well. A really early lunch, so haven't had dinner. Very often just have one main meal, like late in the afternoon. If I eat late, I tend not to be hungry for the rest of the day. But I had my lunch pretty early today. 3722. I think that's all. 3722. Lovely. Going to go for one more color. And then check on the progress today. Number 7, we have one threaded. And I've done okay today. I've done pretty good. I haven't spotted any error. Because the previous session with the ceiling, I noticed so many mistakes afterwards. Because the area I was trying to stitch at the same time was just too big. My brain just couldn't follow. One, 2 down. Then 1 more here. Six to go. One, two. Oh. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh dear. See, Dolly's silently protesting. It's a supper time. Couple more stitches to go. Have a look. Just in case I miss anything. There's one more somewhere there. Where is it? Oh, it's a loose stitch over there. Let's have a look. Let me tuck this one in. Final stitch. And this one over the left. I think I missed that one. It's under brown color. Last stitch for this session. Whoops. Just stitch over it. I made a mistake of bringing the thread up the wrong corner. Cool. Beautiful. So, let's have a look. The progress today. So, this is the area I've been focusing on today. And as you can see, there's something happening here. It's quite interesting. So I'm looking forward to do more to complete this session and this section. And I'm going to show you the markup in full of its glory. It's absolutely beautiful. And let me show you my progress in terms of stats if you're interested. Thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Brittany. See, I'll just tap out of it by accident. So I want to look at my progress today. I've got a timer going here. So look at the right side panel. That's my sprint today. So I timed it since the beginning of the session. So roughly close to 3 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes roughly. And I have completed 233 stitches. Not too shabby at all. And I'm going to stop the timer now. And the general progress on the upper left of the screen, 13.13%. I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So a few more, just over 1,000 stitches for this area before I completed it. But really happy with that. And let me come out here. Yes, Brittany, try the app. And if you have any questions, you know, Karen from Needlebug. She's the expert and she will give you a lot of pointers. And if you have any questions, you can ask me as well. I have limited knowledge of this app. I've just started using it maybe over a week ago. Yeah, it's so great to have you as a company. I hope you make really good progress as well. Let me just come out and zoom out a little bit so you get to see where I am today. Some are tucked under the frame, but this is where I am. I've done most of the wall, pink wall on the side, on the corner here, as you can see on my iPad as well. So this is my progress so far. Sort of a slightly random location, but I'm starting to kind of fill them in gradually. So, you know, it will become a bit more orderly. And I'll pick sort of directions and areas that I'm interested in terms of colors, so I don't get bored. And I'm going to start to work on the ceiling area as well. So start to fill them up a little bit at a time. Thank you so much, Brittany. And yeah, so this is a session today. I'm on a day 4 of this live stream streak. Let's see how long how long I can keep it going. And I'm looking forward to, you know, find some time every day, hopefully, to sit down and stitch with you. And I hope you enjoy your projects as well. So wherever you are, good morning, good evening, good afternoon. And but over here in London, it's 9:39 p.m. Okay, so good evening from me, from London, and Yogi bids you good night, nighty night. See you later. See you, Brittany. Bye.